This is not the chapter where Roger Stone becomes the hacker. This is the chapter where he becomes something else, the opportunist circling hack material as it enters American politics. That distinction matters. Because if you get this chapter wrong, you miss the shape of the danger. The point is not that Stone carried out the Russian cyber attack. The point is that once stolen information began moving toward public release, he appears in the story as a man trying to position himself around it, anticipate it, exploit it, and then lie about what he was doing. That is what makes this chapter so revealing. Not the hack itself. The hunt to profit from the hack. That is chapter 6. Once hacked material enters politics, a new kind of figure appears. Not the spy. Not the thief. Not the foreign operator. The broker. The middleman. The political opportunist. And Roger Stone sits in that space like almost no one else in this entire story. Because this chapter is not built around one dramatic image. It is built around anticipation. Who knew what was coming? Who claimed access? Who hinted at inside knowledge? Who tried to turn the coming release into political advantage? That is the pressure point here. As WikiLeaks moved closer to publication, Stone appeared to be circling the event, projecting confidence, signaling awareness, and building the image that he had a line into something the rest of the political world was still trying to understand. That is why this chapter matters. It shows what happens after hacked material enters the bloodstream of politics. People do not just react to it. They begin trying to hide it. And that is where this story becomes more dangerous than a simple headline about leaks. Because once political actors start circling stolen material for advantage, the line between foreign interference and domestic exploitation begins to blur in public view. That is the first amazement. This chapter is not about who stole the material. It is about who moved to profit from its release. And once you see that clearly, the entire chapter sharpens. The back-channel atmosphere matters here. The texts. The intermediaries. The constant sense of anticipation. The performance of access. The suggestion that something big is coming and that Stone wanted to be seen as close to it. This is not the clean world of official diplomacy. It is the murky world of signals, denials, hints, and positioning. That is what gives this chapter its strange, predatory feeling. Not certainty. Not clarity. Anticipation. The feeling of someone circling an event before it fully lands. And then the pressure changes. Because eventually Congress starts asking questions. And once that happens, this is no longer just a story about proximity to a political dirty trick. It becomes a story about accountability. What did Stone know? What did he say? What did he deny? What story did he tell once formal scrutiny arrived? That is where the chapter turns. Because the deeper force of the Roger Stone story is not only the opportunism. It is the concealment that follows it. The lies matter. The false statements matter. And the intimidation matters. That is your second amazement. This chapter is not only about exploiting the release. It is about what happened when the system started asking for the truth. And that is where the story gets darker. Because once investigators in Congress begin pulling at the thread, the pattern becomes familiar again. Contact. Positioning. Minimization. Then the lie. That rhythm keeps returning in this series for a reason. The truth is rarely surrendered at the beginning. It has to be cornered. And in this chapter, that cornering leads to one of the ugliest turns in the whole sequence. Witness tampering. That matters because witness tampering is not spin. It is not messaging. It is not a harmless technicality. It is pressure applied to the truth itself. It is an attempt to shape not just public perception, but testimony. Not just the story, but the record. And once a chapter reaches that point, nobody gets to pretend this was just colorful political theater. That excuse dies here. Because this is where the performance hardens into obstruction. So if the world asks what chapter 6 really proves, the answer is this. After hacked material entered American politics, Roger Stone appears in the story not as the hacker, but as the opportunist circling the release, signaling access, and trying to benefit from the political fallout. Then, when scrutiny came, the story did not clean itself up. It broke. The lies followed. The obstruction followed. The witness tampering followed. And that is why this chapter belongs exactly where it does in the series. It shows that the danger was never only in the theft. The danger was also in the people waiting onshore for the stolen goods to arrive. That is the payoff. Not just interference from outside. Exploitation from inside. And the next chapter takes us somewhere even more poisonous, into the Carter Page and FISA fight, where the people watching the danger are accused of becoming part of the danger themselves. That is where the story goes next. The parent, the teacher, the nurse, our mission. Big hugs, Big Dave. Support democracy by supporting Ukraine directly through United 24 media, links in description. Subscribe not to miss our weekly deep dive into Russia. Trump 15 in total, 1K in videos for your interest.